Hey guys, long time no see. I just wanted to touch base with you. The purpose of this little video is to just kind of reconnect, and I wanted to offer you some encouragement, but also hopefully some inspiration so you can be really successful in these next several weeks. We've already done 2 weeks down as far as working on the online assignments, and you may feel like you need some more support and some orientation as to what expectations are. And I will be getting into that fairly soon, but I just wanted to share with you how much I have enjoyed working with you guys this year. And even though the school year is not over, I thought now would be a good time to share with you that I've never had a 9th grade group like this. I mean, we've had so much fun this year, and you guys are so pleasant and respectful, and I've been teaching for 16 years, and you're the best group I've ever had, and I really appreciate your kind-heartedness and the kindness you show towards each other and the respect that you show me. And it really made me want to just hop out of bed and go to work every day. And so I really thank you for that. And it's unfortunate that because of the craziness going on in the world that we can't be in the classroom together. I had all kinds of plans for us to do some outdoor activities and few more labs. I even had a field trip planned for the Phoenix Zoo, which I know you're probably thinking, oh man, and yeah, it was disappointing, but it just means that maybe in a couple of years, for those of you that are really interested in the life sciences, if you wanted to take AP Biology as a junior or senior, that is a course that I teach, and we do a lot of really cool lab activities and some field trips in that course, so that hopefully leaves some hope in your heart. I mentioned that you guys are a really special group, and I wanted to share with you kind of a funny dream I had. This was last week, and I dreamed that we were going back to school, and I was pretty excited about this. And so I show up to school, and I walk into my classroom expecting to see all of you guys sitting there. But instead, there were about 50 students, all of whom I had never seen before. And I was so disgusted. Again, this is just a dream that I had. So what I thought was going to be a really pleasant dream, of course I didn't know it was a dream at the time, it was so realistic, I thought I was actually living in that moment. But then when I realized that my own students were not given back to me, I felt ticked. And so I told the school, hey, I want my students back. I want the students that started with me in August and we're supposed to finish with me in May, and I want them back. So by tomorrow, they need to be back, or I'm gone. And the school was like, okay, we'll do something about that. Just teach these kiddos for today. And I'm like, all right. Anyway, this was just a dream. It was a dream I had, and sometimes our dreams kind of tell us about our subconscious and the stresses and the concerns that we have. And yeah, I feel robbed. I wanted to enjoy the last quarter with you guys, and I guess we have to experience the last quarter of the year in a different way. So I'm sure I don't feel anywhere near as robbed as the seniors do. They had all kinds of things to look forward to, like graduation and all kinds of celebrations, prom and so on. So if anybody needs encouragement, it's probably the seniors. So if you guys have siblings or friends that are seniors, try everything you can to make it a special last few weeks for them. Let's get down to a little bit of business here. AIMS exam isn't happening. Standardized testing, not happening, which can be a good thing. It means that the stuff that we learn about over these next few weeks will be hopefully very, very interesting, and we won't be spending a lot of time reviewing for some standardized tests. Because let me tell you a secret. We teachers don't really enjoy teaching to those tests, even though we do it because we're supposed to. To me, it's kind of a relief that we can focus on some other things. So I wanted to talk with you about this book, Honeybee Democracy. You guys have started reading it, and hopefully you're not too far behind if you are at all. I hope you're enjoying it. I want to tell you a little story, a backstory. You see this guy right here? This is Cedric Steiner and his family. Cedric is a really, really good friend of mine, and we met at a teacher training program about 9 years ago, and we hit it off right from the get-go. We had so much in common, and still do. We still spend time on the phone, FaceTiming and so on. We read books together. but he and I both grew up in Virginia, but we grew up in different parts of Virginia. We both attended a private Christian university, although different private Christian universities. And we both have been biology teachers for over 15 years. And we both have spouses from Pennsylvania, so we both ended up living in Pennsylvania, and we didn't actually know anything about each other until 2011. So it's a really interesting story. We have a lot in common, and we're really good buddies. So how is that relevant to biology? It has everything to do with it, because Cedric told me, dude, you need to read Honeybee Democracy. Let's read it together. You might find that your students will enjoy it and learn a lot from it. And I was like, well, not that bees are my favorite organism, but maybe this would be a good experience for us, so let's do it. And as I was reading it, I was like, whoa, this book is amazing, because you get to learn about bees and how they interact with each other, how they communicate with each other, about where food is and where a potential home is. And of course they use dancing to signal. And they're very sophisticated organisms in terms of how they communicate. And this ties in very closely, or very intimately, I think, with what we've learned regarding adaptation, evolution, because the genes that subtly control animal behavior can be selected by nature, and those organisms that have the best package of genes that predispose them to beneficial behaviors, those packages of genes will be selected by nature. But I'm also sharing this book with you because it also teaches a little bit about animal behavior, but also about how organisms interact with their environment and the scientific process. So everything from asking a scientific question, setting up a hypothesis, writing up the details of an experiment, carrying out that experiment, analyzing data, graphing data, drawing conclusions. So that's really going to be, well, it probably already is a fantastic experience for you. So I hope you guys will continue to enjoy this. It's got 10 chapters, and we're coming up on halfway through the book. What is the objective? Well, here's the long-term goal, all right? First, you're going to be doing a presentation, and I'm not sure how long or what that will entail. Soon I will reveal those details to you. But in May, you'll be doing a slide presentation, and you'll either upload a video for my review, or if some of you prefer, we can do a Zoom conference and you can do it live, and I'll tell you more about that later. But the reason you're taking notes on each chapter is so that you can go back, and when you construct your slides and you report on what you learned, you'll have something to jog your memory, and that's why we're going through this process. I'm looking at my notes. You can tell I'm really prepared for this lesson. So here we have, we talked about honeybees, viruses. So we're going to be learning about viruses. You guys already submitted an assignment regarding viruses. I hope you found that text to be really interesting. I'll do a presentation and upload it for you at some point about the different kinds of viruses and how they cause infection. I think that's really relevant considering what we all are reading about in the news and what has affected our experiences these last several weeks. I want to talk with you about how to be successful. This next month and a half or so, however many weeks we have. First, you are the professional student. So, like, I'm the professional teacher, right? So I deliver instruction, I help you learn, and then the district compensates me so I can put food on the table and pay a mortgage. You guys have a job too. Your job is to learn. But we're paying you with grades and credits, and that way you can get on to the next step of life with a high school diploma and hopefully a good GPA if you do well at your job. So I do want you to think of this as your job, and this is probably something I should have told you day one, but I've noticed when I've looked at the work that's been done, some of you guys have kind of dropped the ball a little bit, but most of you, a lot of you, have really applied yourself and you've done your very best to try to understand the material that I've presented the last couple weeks. So I really appreciate that. But for those of you that are kind of lagging, maybe you're having a hard time finding motivation, and if you're not that well organized, it might be hard to kind of adapt to this new situation that we're in. So I'm kind of giving these pointers to all of you, but especially to those of you that are trying to find your way. Find a quiet room. Usually that's your own bedroom or whatever, but I know you guys have pets and siblings and you have parents even that can sometimes be distracting, but be honest with them about your need to focus, and they may not realize that you're busy doing something. So if you can ask them to work with you on that, just don't be sitting there with your phone on social media, allowing that to interrupt your focus. I mean, I'm with you. I mean, social media is great. It's fun. I know I'm on my Instagram account in the morning and evening, but you got to balance your life by keeping work where it belongs and keeping play where it belongs as well. So quiet room. Also, at nighttime, if you're doing homework, put your phone or your tablet or your Chromebook on night shift mode and just keep that setting. You can adjust what time of the day you want night shift to be on, and make sure you slide that slider all the way over to warm, because scientific studies have shown that blue light can actually make it very difficult for the brain to relax and to drift into sleep. So I also recommend not just being on warm mode or on night shift mode with your electronic devices, but just don't even bother to be on your electronic devices in the last couple hours before you go to sleep. Hopefully you're doing most of your schoolwork in the morning and afternoon and leaving the evening for rest. Take care of your physical health. You need to be very cognizant of your need to get moving. Take breaks often, go for a walk, take your dog for a walk, join some of your friends in the park to throw a ball around, run, swim, whatever the activity is. Of course, swimming isn't probably the thing you're doing this time of year, but I know when I was a member at the gym, I would do laps in the pool. But whatever it is that you enjoy, that keeps you moving, do that frequently through the day. Even if it's just getting up to get a drink of water, or getting up to walk around and go nowhere in particular, it's good to get those muscles moving, get the blood flowing. And don't stay in your room for 3 hours straight without taking some kind of break. You don't want to stress yourself out too much. So you want to be able to focus too. Sometimes in these stressful times, it's really easy to focus on yourself. I know that I'm like that when I'm really, really busy. So I'd recommend just when you take a break, sometimes think about helping somebody else. And maybe it's your parents, or maybe it's a sibling. I have a jet passing over here. But if your parents need help with chores, so if you have an opportunity to help them, and don't wait for them to ask you for help. I think they'd be really impressed with you if you help them with some kind of task that they may not be able to do because they're trying to attend to responsibilities. And I know some of you guys have parents that are taking a hit. So anything you can do to support them and encourage them as they try to either find work or somehow be productive, and that would be really helpful, I think, to them. So that's one way to use your off time, if you want to call it your off time. Organization. So I'm going to give you guys some pointers, maybe in a later video or a little later segment of the video, about how to be organized, whether it be with Calendar, Gmail, Google Drive, and so on, because I know some of you may be struggling with that. Grammar. So whenever you're doing assignments, please use proper grammar, proper capitalization, proper punctuation, proper spelling. Some of you guys in your Google Docs are totally ignoring Google Docs checks. You know how Google Doc will tell you if you've misspelled something or tell you if something's wrong with your grammatical structure? Some of you guys are just moving on and you're not going back and thinking, all right, what did I do wrong there? And Google Docs will not always catch a grammatical error. That's why you have to be very careful. But please submit those in a way that you would be proud of them. If you submit something that you didn't really put a lot of effort into or you didn't proofread, then you might not get the desired result as far as a great score. So why is that important? Hey, when you type up resumes or you type up an interest essay for a job that you're really interested in the future, or if you type up, let's say, a letter of interest for a university that you're thinking about attending in a few years' time, you cannot misspell and have fragments and have run-ons, because if you do, here's what they'll do. They'll just take your letter of interest or your resume and they will just throw it away and move on to the next person. And it's not that they're making some kind of personal attack, it's just that you have to be mindful that you're in a competitive world. There are many other young people that have skills much like you do. And if you don't pay attention to the little details, and other people are seeing that, then they're going to figure you're not going to pay attention to the big details either. So that's why we want to write the best that we can. And don't give me text speak, you know. Use text speak for text to your friends, but not to me when you're writing a paper or doing other assignments. Okay, cool. I just tore up my notes. I didn't really think about that. Some of you are staying behind or getting behind. Next week, I will offer tutoring for those specific students that are missing assignments. And if you wish for me to grade whatever work maybe you've submitted late, I'm not going to grade those unless you take a step forward and say, okay, I'll sign up for tutoring, and I'll send out information about that soon, but it'll be tutoring specifically for those students that are behind in their learning and have missing assignments. And then I'll ask those attendees, once they've attended, to write a brief write-up or paragraph, large paragraph, a page, on what they're going to do to be successful for the rest of the year. That way I know that even though you've got behind, you've got a game plan for catching up. And then at that point, once you've done those two things, I'll give you credit for the late work that you've done. There is a myth circulating, and I don't know where it came from, that a grade cannot fall, or teachers won't let a student's grade fall. Total myth. That's not true. Maybe the confusion stemmed from the fact that teachers, especially this teacher, is not going to let you falter or allow you to let your grade fall without me being proactive, contacting your parents, and trying everything I can to pull you back out of whatever hole you might have dug. So that's the other piece of it that maybe you guys didn't hear, but most of you are being really responsible, so I appreciate that, and hopefully we will have a great rest of the year. So if you have any questions, shoot me a message, and I hope this has been helpful.